Hello and welcome again to the Beowulf continuation, the very brief and quick, I hope, probably not so quick as you would like, but synopsis of Beowulf. We're starting, picking it up at fit number 19, line 1251. Then sank they to sleep. Everybody goes to sleep after having, let's review what's happened so far. We have a big celebration because Beowulf said he's going to fight Grendel. Then they have an even bigger celebration because he did fight Grendel and he killed Grendel. Everything's fine now, right? Wrong, because it's exactly in this motif. The Beowulf poet borrowed this from the Wizard of Oz. Remember in the Wizard of Oz, you have Ding Dong, the witch is dead. We've dropped a house on the Wicked Witch of the East, and everybody says, hooray, hooray, the Wicked Witch is dead. Then there's a big puff of smoke, and the EPA gets all upset about that. And it turns out to be the witch, and Dorothy says, well, I thought I killed the witch, and no, Glinda says, no, that was the Wicked Witch of the East. This is the Wicked Witch of the West. She's worse than the other one. Great, thanks for telling me, Glinda. Dorothy by that time could have had a huge head start getting the heck out of Dodge, or Oz, as the case may be. Same thing happens here. We're all excited because Grendel is dead, and then, oh, by the way, then somebody else gets killed. We say, oops, well, gee, I forgot to tell you, but he has a mom who's really vicious. So that's what comes out, line 1251. Then sank they to sleep. 'Twas seen and told how an avenger survived the fiend. So by calling her an avenger, the poet places this struggle with the monster in the context of the same kind of feuds that we've been seeing among the humans. Grendel's mother, monster of women, mourned her woe. And so she grabs two things. She comes in and grabs one of the thanes, a man named Ashura, who turns out to be the favorite thane of the king, Hrothgar, as well as the trophy, the arm of Grendel. Yet a single atheling up she seized, line 1295, fast and firm as she fled to the moor. The hand all had viewed, line 1302, blood-flecked she bore with her. That takes us to fit number XX20. And Hrothgar mourns. He hears about Ashura, and he says, line 1324, dead is Ashura of Irminlof, the elder brother, my sage advisor, and stay in counsel. Okay, and so now he tells Beowulf what has gone on, and the fact that Grendel had a mother. And here is where this is, I cited this line before, line 1355, because way back when the narrator tells us that Grendel was descended by Cain, many early commentators point that out as kind of the obtusity of the medieval poets, that they really don't understand the difference between Christian and pagan, and they're muddling the various things. And how could this pagan know about the Old Testament story? Well, first of all, the pagans did know about Old Testament stories, right? Because it did precede them. Those who had any contact with Jewish culture would have had familiar with that. So it's a silly objection. Secondly, that was the voice of the narrator telling us that he was the kin of Cain. Hrothgar, the pagan king of the Danes, says, I don't know where he's descended from. His father they knew not, line 1355. But then he says, he remembers things that he had heard of wanderers in his realm, especially on the outskirts. They see this mysterious pool, and light comes out from it, line 1365. By night is a wonder weird to see fire on the waters. Okay. Line 1417. The Danish men had sorrow of the soul, and for Schilding's all, when Ashura's head they found on the flood. So they go off toward this mere of Grendel's, this lake, and on the way they find the head of Ashura. Line 1425, the band sat down and watched on the water worm-like things, sea dragons strange that sounded the deep, and nicors that lay on the ledge of the nest. These water monsters, these nicors, that's exactly the species that Beowulf said that he had killed. So now it turns out that his Beot is significant, right? Because he said, I have experience in killing water monsters, and now here they are. Okay. So he dives down in. Before he does so, this is the second to the last reference that we have, line 1455, to Unferth. And Unferth steps up again, and he offers an old family heirloom, his sword, to Beowulf. Nor was that the meanest of mighty helps, of which Hrothgar's orator offered at need, that is, Unferth. Hrunting they named the hilted sword of old-time heirlooms, easily the first. So the greatest of the ancient swords that the Danes own is owned by Unferth, and he gives it to Beowulf. Beowulf, before diving down into the water, says, line 1481, if war should seize me, and the goodly gifts thou gavest me, Hrothgar beloved, to Higelac send. Okay, so send the gifts to my king, because that's the part of the Comitatus arrangement. After these words, the Werayat Lord boldly hastened. The ocean floods closed o'er the hero. So he dives down, and immediately his presence is sensed by Grendel's mom. Line 1500, soon found the fiend whom the flood-domain sword-hungry held these 100 winters, greedy and grim, that some guest from above, some man was raiding her monster realm. She grasped out for him with grisly claws. But Beowulf is not defenseless. Beowulf, line 521, then sang on her head that seemly blade, its war song wild. But the warrior found the light of battle was loath to bite, to harm the heart, its hard edge failed. Okay, so just as just as Grendel could not be quelled by sword, there's a charm against weapons, so too with the mom. Okay. So what do? Well, he looks around and he sees an even older sword. Okay. Now, of course, after the Industrial Revolution, we always want the new and improved model, right? The newest weapons are the best weapons, and at least Tony Stark always tells us that. But it would be the ethic would be the opposite, right? An heirloom, an ancient sword, is always more valuable because the sense, instead of the sense of progress that we have since the Industrial Revolution, the notion is that things were always greater in the olden days. Okay, and that's especially true because in the olden days there were giants, and line 1558, the opening of Canto 23, begins, mid the battle gear he saw a blade triumphant, old sword of Eotens, the Old English word for giants, with edge of proof. Warrior's heirloom weapon unmatched, save only 'twas more than other men to bandy of battle could bear at all, as the giants had wrought it, ready and keen. Okay, so it's the best of swords, except that it's too big for a normal human being to wield, except Beowulf is able to do so. And so with the blade then, 1567, the blade pierced through that fated one's flesh, to the floor she sank. So the normal, whatever this magic is that protects Beowulf and Grendel and Grendel's mom from weapons, that doesn't include these giant weapons. And so then he looks around. Then he finds the body of Grendel, line 1585. Now prone he saw Grendel stretched there. The body sprang far when after death it received the blow, sword stroke savage that severed its head. But having killed Grendel's mom, and then he also decapitates Grendel himself, his dead body. Line 1605, he looks at the sword that has now been soaked in the blood of both Grendel's mother and Grendel. And this is what happens. Now that sword began from blood of the fight in battle drippings, war blade to wane. 'Twas a wondrous thing that all of it melted as ice is wont. So all that's left is the hilt. Okay. So that takes us to the end of Fit 23, line 1650. And so in our next exciting episode, we'll pick it up in Fit 24, line 1651. So until then, bless you.